This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming a very special guest. I will be talking to Hilary Beane. Hilary played Miss Updike in the teen cult classic comedy Zapped. She was also in Thank God It's Friday. She actually got top billing in that movie, and everybody else in that movie was an unknown. Jeff Goldblum, Deborah Winger, Valerie Landsberg, everybody in that movie, but she got top billing in that. She was also in Oh God. She was in Mr. Mom. She also had roles in Xanadu. She was the voice of a showgirl in American Pop. She was there playing through the sequel. She's done a lot of great classic movies. And then she got out of the business and became a jeweler. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff today. This has been a while coming. I think I reached out to her the week after Christmas or the week after that, and she had a huge inventory to take because her jewelry business was booming during the holidays. But now we can do this podcast interview, and it is friggin' exciting, and I just cannot wait. So yeah, here is my interview with Hilary Beane. Hey Hilary, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Well, I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. This is such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
It's great. I'm blown away by your wondrous sort of, obsession.
That's very flattering.
I think
Thank you.
Really great. It's lovely. Really great.
So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting early on in your childhood?
Oh, absolutely. But it had nothing to do with going into films or theater. I just was acting 24/7.
Yeah.
I just, I liked pretending I was other people, or at least pretending that I was, some figment of my imagination. So
Right.
I never thought of it. I was never in a high school play. So it was rather shocking when I got my first job, which was an understudy role at Lincoln Center. It was a play called Black Picture Show, and I understudied Linda Miller, who is Jackie Gleason's daughter.
Right.
And thank the stars above, she never got sick because I have absolutely no idea what the hell the play was about. It was totally abstract. They had, a fabulous jazz quartet behind a scrim on stage. And it just was perfect. I got to be this understudy and be associated with this play, but I had, not a clue. If I'd had to go on, it would have been disastrous. But anyway, it was great. And then not long after that, I ended up getting another play. It was at a small theater downtown in New York. And I reckoned I got the lead, the female lead, and I figured I could do it because it was only for 3 weekends. And so I thought, okay, I can deal with this. But the third weekend, a producer named Joseph Papp came to see the play, and he bought it. And about 8 weeks later, we opened at Lincoln Center. So I went from never having been in a high school play to the lead in a play at Lincoln Center. And it was a very controversial play as well because it was a black and white theme.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got bomb threats and yeah, all sorts of threats, especially to me and the lead at the time, Ariemi Litzcott.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was extraordinary. It was an extraordinary experience, and it made me throw up every time I went on stage.
Oh, got pretty bad stage fright,
Before. Oh yeah, and plus I was working without any chops. I'd never been in a play. I'd never studied.
Mm-hmm.
So, and most of the people I was working with had studied, and they'd studied drama or, in classes, and they'd all also been in plays. And so I was kind of winging it on the natch, which is not a great thing.
Yeah.
But I got through with some good reviews.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Connecticut.
Okay.
And my mother remarried when I was about 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
And we left the States and went to live in Panama.
Wow.
And then in Guam.
Wow.
And I came back to the States when I was about, I guess I was about 14 when we came back, and we did a stint in California, the armpit of California, Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went back east and settled in Maryland.
Wow. What was it like being in Panama and Guam at that point in time?
It was fabulous. I moved around a lot even before we left the country, because I lived with several different relatives and friends of relatives. So all told, I ended up going to about 17 or 18 schools.
Right.
And so at that time, one of the schools in Panama was really in the sticks of Balboa. And it was unique in that sometimes our recess would be interrupted by a panther call, which meant we had to come in because there was a panther on the grounds.
Oh, man.
And then the panther squad would come and, I guess, take it away to Pantherland. But, yeah, but it was beautiful. There was fruit trees everywhere. I ate so many mangoes. I got mango rash. And, yeah, and it was incredibly beautiful. And I attached myself to a family. Mm-hmm. Because most of the families, we lived on a base, and they were Navy people.
Right.
But at the end of that area were civil service folks. Mm-hmm. And civil service were quite different in that they were there to stay. They were there because they loved Panama, and they... so I, as I say, attached myself to this family, and it was really great because I got to go with them mm-hmm. and do things, other than, let's say, go to the bowling alley. We went butterfly hunting and lizard hunting and
wow.
All sorts of wonderful natural wonders that Panama has. We got to visit. So
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Guam was a little less desirable in that it's an island made of coral.
Yeah.
And so many people are allergic to coral because you breathe it. You breathe it all the time. And so if you, like allergies, if you were prone to it, you would get Guam disease, which was this horrid sort of, creeping infection that attacked arms and legs and stuff. My friends' brothers ran around with casts on their arms the whole time they were there. But, it had its moments. It had beautiful beaches, but it wasn't, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after you do those theater performances, then do you go straight to LA?
Yeah, I think I got too scared off by getting those good reviews.
Yeah.
I didn't know what might happen, And so I did. I took off for LA, and I had a girlfriend that had been I'd met in an acting class that I went to for a few months right before I got the roles, the understudy and the role at Lincoln Center. And oh God, Hanman, hello. I'm trying to think of the acting teacher's name. I'm just blanking on it, of course. Wynn Handman.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
In fact, they have a wonderful doco on him on Netflix, or they used to anyway.
Oh, okay.
And I met this girl there, and she was wonderful. We became tight right away. And she was incredibly beautiful, drop dead
Gorgeous.
ringer for Faye Dunaway.
Oh.
I mean, she looked just like Faye Dunaway. And so she had gone off to LA, and when I finished up at Lincoln Center, I was in contact with her, and I was still modeling now and again, and I got a modeling gig for I don't know, some beer company or liquor was I think Stoli, one of those. Anyway, off we went to do the job in California, and I ended up staying there. And then, I stayed with my friend for a while. And she was going out on auditions here and there.
Yeah.
And I got the bug. And because of the, sort of Lincoln Center cachet, I guess, I got pretty easily got an agent. Also, I had a friend from New York that was doing pretty well at the time. And so Joan Scott was the name of this lady, and she had an agency called Writers and Artists. Yeah, something like that. So I went with them, and they just started sending me out on stuff. And we were off to the races.
Wow. So, according to IMDb, your first on-screen credit was The Blue Knight with George Kennedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I just showed up that was it. And yeah, I remember we shot in what then became Otis, the Art Institute, shortly after that. But yeah, I can't say much. I know I shot with him. I think just out of sort of fear and loathing, I just didn't take the kind of interest that most folks did. So often I did things and didn't bother to see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's right. Then the first movie was Oh God.
Yes, which the other day I interviewed somebody from the movie and I was watching it and I saw you. I was like, oh God, here's another one we could talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who were you interviewing that was in it?
The little girl who played John Denver's daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, it was kind of thrilling for me because it was a kind of jovial set. I mean, not that I had any notion of what sets were like, but I just remember it being very spirited and kind of, it was a thrill to have George Burns, sort of be having, known of him. I didn't grow up with television. We didn't have. So I never saw any of those classic American shows like that, but I certainly knew of them. And it was, a thrill to get to do my scene with John Denver. And we did a little, little improvisation. And he was very kind, and I was very nervous, and I think he was too. But he was better at it because he'd been on more stages.
Yeah.
And he said, was everything okay? I said, just as long as you don't sing Rocky Mountain High would be great. He laughed. It was good,
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays he'd probably be insulted because, everybody's offended now.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, they'd cancel me if I had anything to be canceled from.
How was Carl Reiner?
Well, he was very, sort of fatherly. I mean, I think, it was, I don't even remember so much any kind of, really any kind of direction. Mm-hmm. He seemed to be very pleased with what ended up in the film. And, there wasn't much dialogue. It was just a little back and forth of Denver thought that I wanted to shake his hand, but I was really just trying to take the coffee cup from him before he went out on the set.
Yeah.
So it was cute. Yeah.
It was, yeah. And around that same time, you were on Robert Klein's CBS special. How did that come about?
I haven't a clue. I don't know. But it was really disappointing to me. To me, not having paid attention to half the, whatever the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
That it didn't go forward because there was me, Kresmersky, Michael Keaton,
Peter Boyle,
Yeah, but he was a guest. He would have been a guest star. We did the pilot.
Okay.
And he would have been a guest star, as was, shameful that I'm blanking.
There was
One of the funniest women that ever came down the pike.
Madeline Kahn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madeline Kahn. Killer. Absolutely killer. So we did lots of different skits. It was going to be like a Saturday Night Live-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but Robert, I guess, would have, directed it, and I assume he would have been in some of the skits, which was different to Saturday Night Live. And I don't think Saturday Night Live had happened, had it? I don't know.
Yeah, 75 it started.
Yeah, but anyway, it was kind of going to be like that. And so I was thrilled that it might be, regular work. And so it was disappointing when it didn't get past the pilot. But if you want to hear a story that I thought was pretty funny.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, we were meant to do a scene that was, really kind of straightforward British courtroom drama. Mm-hmm. And so everybody was, it was like a murder trial, and it was a very solemn, kind of feeling to it, with the exception of the fact that we were all on roller skates.
Yeah.
So that, was just going to be this incredible courtroom drama with everyone on skates. Well, Madeline said she couldn't skate.
Yeah.
There was just no way. And I was a good skater. So I thought, my chance to show up Madeline Kahn. And so, the scene opens, and I skate like a, sort of whiz. And then I don't even remember what she was playing, like the prosecutor, or maybe I don't remember, mm-hmm. But I do remember they opened the doors at the back of the courtroom.
Right.
And in comes Madeline. She's on skates, but the wheels are locked. Yeah. And so she is just walking on these skates down the aisle to the judge. It was quite funny. She blew everybody away. That was quite good. Yeah.
And then you received top billing in one of my favorites, Thank God It's Friday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was pretty fun. That was a movie that made me feel like I was in the movies.
Yeah.
One, because it was the first time that I got to work with a coach to show me how to punch.
Yeah.
How to give a good right hook. And so that was good. That was fun. And also because of everybody else that was in the film was like constantly like a big party.
Yeah.
And with the Commodores and Donna Summer. It was really fun. And plus, I loved doing my little part, which I played a straight-laced teacher on a computer date, which turns out to be someone that's about 4 feet shorter than me and a garbage collector.
Right.
So, so, it goes on. And there were lots of very 70s, but, kind of fun bits in it. So it was really great. And also, I got to go on tour for the first time.
Oh.
And that was quite good because I remember it was at a time when Elvis Costello was coming to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I got myself tickets immediately. And then I found out about the tour, and I was going to be gone when he was coming. So I was pretty bummed. But cut to, I get on the plane to go to wherever the first stop was, because we were visiting, 3 or 4 cities, and we went in pairs. And so I got to the airport, and I kind of caught the eye of this gentleman as he was getting on, and it was the drummer for Elvis Costello, who then invited me to come to the show in Cincinnati, where we were going.
Oh.
So that was pretty kismet.
Yeah, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I could not turn on HBO without seeing this movie on. I would just get excited every time it's on because I love Valerie Landsberg. I grew up watching Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We stayed friends for a long time after that, and she did great. And I haven't talked to her in a long while, but yeah.
I'm working on getting her on here, so I'll tell her you said hi if I do.
Oh, please do. Yeah, she's a great gal. Yeah, there were a lot of. I knew Jeff Goldblum from New York.
Right.
He had done what is it? Coca-Cola. Damn.
Well, he was in a couple. He was in a couple Robert Altman movies before this, and he was in Death Wish and Annie Hall.
Right. But in New York, he did a cabaret, and it was called El Grande Coca-Cola.
Oh.
And he did this amazing, there were other folks in it, but he was the main star. I don't know if he wrote that or not. But anyway, El Grande Coca-Cola, and they all spoke in Spanglish, like pretend English, or pretend Spanish, rather, but it's English. It was very, very funny. He was good. He was funny in that. So it was nice to see him again.
Well,
go ahead.
He did that one commercial a few years ago where he's playing piano with all those girls around him and he's singing the Jeffersons theme.
Oh, I missed out on that.
Yeah,
but what was funny is about it would have been about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was down, I have a jewelry line. And so I was in a shop in the French Quarter one day where I sell it. And it was, one of the 1,000 of festival events that they have here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, he was at the lead of the parade.
Okay.
And I was like, unfortunately, they'd gone way up ahead of me before I could get out there to yell at him. But that was funny.
Were you a dancer in Xanadu?
Well, sorta. What happened in Xanadu was that it started out a skate movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, you probably wouldn't know at that time, there was a complete craze around skating in LA. And one of the places that everyone was going was called Moonlight Skating Rink in, I don't know, in, sort of bumfuck in the valley somewhere.
Yeah.
And everybody started going. And I'd always skated. I loved skating. So when, all of the celebs got there,
Mm-hmm.
I already knew how to, sort of twist and turn and jump up and pirouette and dance on the skates. And so I went out there every week in fabulous outfits. Bianca Jagger once showed up with a cane to a skating rink.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And, lots of celebs were out there all the time. It was like a really big deal. And so by virtue of me spinning my tricks there, I got tabbed for that for Xanadu. So we go and we rehearse, and I'm doing my little pirouettes on the skates. Mm-hmm. When not very long into the start of it, it turns out that the director finds out that there's about 14 other skating movies in progress. And so he literally changed my thing from skating to dancing. Now, mm-hmm. I have absolutely no ability to dance. That is to say, on skates, I can dance when I'm by myself, right? And I can spin around, do my own rhythm thing. But to have to do that with someone else, no. So consequently, we rehearsed. And when the other three people I was in the scene with went right, I went left. That's what I said to you yesterday. My left is your right.
Yeah.
So it was disaster. I don't know. I never saw it, but I don't know if it got cut out or not. But it was a scream because it didn't matter how many times I did it or what direction they changed to. I just had a propensity to go the opposite way.
I've seen it. It's awful. The whole movie is awful.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Gene Kelly. Yes. Gene Kelly deserved better to go out on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You were
and Olivia
Newton-John. Yeah, her career was starting to go on the outs by that point in terms of movies.
Yeah, exactly.
But her music career was huge at that time.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, because she did.
Really? A music career?
Yeah, because she did Physical and Heart Attack and all those.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You were a showgirl in Ralph Bakshi's American Pop.
Yeah, thrilling to get to be a cartoon.
Yeah, I talked to Ron Thompson last year. He's a great guy.
Oh. Well, all I know is you just went in there and you did what you would normally do on the set, and it's just that you did it by yourself, and but all of the moves and everything would be the same as if you were you were filming. It's just they turned that film into animation. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a very groundbreaking movie for its time, in terms of animation and real life.
Yeah.
They call that rotoscope.
The what?
They, they,
Rotoscope.
they call
Hello.
that, yeah, rotoscope animation, as they
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
So how do you get cast in Zapped?
Um, well, I reckon that was probably Joan Scott.
Hmm.
Um, and um, and it was actually a kind of sweet role.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Let me tell you, when I was 4 or 5, I was watching a movie that was not so graphic, I should say. It was a PG movie, and then Zapped was the next movie. My parents had taped it, and I'm watching it, and I knew who Scott Baio was from Happy Days by that point, and
Uh huh.
I see
Uh
him.
huh.
I see him using telekinesis to take people's clothes off. I see a priest with a talking dummy, and I see Scatman Crothers smoking pot, then riding a horse with a giant salami. I'm like, what movie is this? Craziness. Yeah, it's one of my favorites to
Uh-huh.
this day. Yeah,
Oh, oh, that's great. Yeah, and I got to make out on a desk.
yeah. So
With
was how was that? Was it awkward at all making out with Willie Ames?
uh, yeah, I think I think that it lent itself. The awkwardness lent itself to the part. You know,
Yeah.
sort of life, repeating art or whatever that is. Anyway, yeah, it was fun. There's actually a Zapped fan club on Facebook
Oh yes.
that I get notices from now and again. It's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. There's a Porky's fan group on Facebook too that I just joined, and I'm interviewing
Oh.
somebody from that next week, and I have a similar story about seeing that. I was watching these movies when I was way too young.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the start of your passion.
exactly. I mean, not just with these, but just like all the genres. I mean, I watched everything as a kid.
Hmm. Wow. And did you never take a turn at trying your hand at acting?
Oh yes, I just don't like auditions, and I auditioned when I
That
was.
presents a problem.
Yeah, when I was 15, I auditioned for a production of The Sound of Music in my high school, and I
Ah.
see I see all these kids who are just absolutely awful getting in just because their parents made a large donation to the school drama
Uh,
fund,
uh,
and I had a sense of the business from that point on. I was just like, yeah, I don't like auditioning. If you think I'm funny or something, you want me in your project, I'll do it, but I just hate auditioning.
oh, that's totally understandable. And
Yeah.
actually, that was not unlike the business itself.
Yeah, and then I ended up doing stand-up comedy for 10 years, and then I really got to see how fucked up the business is.
Wow. Wow. Where did you do that? In LA?
Not in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's where I'm from.
Did you
Yeah.
Did you ever get anything thrown at you?
Never got anything thrown at me, but there was many times when I should have.
uh, so did you go from that into what you're doing today?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a car accident, 7 years ago, and it made me see things,
Oh,
better.
that's right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
I just kind of started the podcast on kind of a lark. I mean, I'd been listening to podcasts while I was recovering, and I thought, this would be pretty cool to try this, and it's worked to my benefit. 461 interviews so far. So
Wow.
or
Wow.
1,400.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 1,400.
And
Sorry.
yeah. I was going to say, are you repaired from that accident?
I have pretty bad arthritis, and I've had my gallbladder taken out and lots of different things. And right now, weight is
Mm,
my biggest problem. I've been
mm,
having an on again, off again weight problem my whole life, so right now I'm just working on that. But yeah, I mean,
mm.
for the most part, I'm good.
Oh, wow. Well, that's. I guess that was one miracle in your life, right?
It was a huge miracle, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. I was
Yeah.
I was curious. I love your name in Zapped. Miss Updike. You know, was was that like was that like? Do you know if that was based on that name was based on somebody, or was supposed to be a pun on the fact that you had short hair or something?
I I don't know. I guess I don't know. I really don't. I don't have a clue about that. I didn't think about it. I just thought it was an apt name for this sort of I don't know kook that was conspiring
With
with
Willie Ames.
what well no with
Oh,
God, I'm so
Scott
terrible.
Baio.
Robert.
Oh,
No,
Robert.
no, no. I'm the
Is it
yeah the
the principal?
the
Robert.
principal.
I'm looking it up
Uh,
right now.
it's,
I know who you're talking about. He was on Three's a Crowd with John Ritter.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
oh, Robert Mandon. That's his name.
Mandarin. Yes, yes. It was very nice. Yeah. I'm dreadful. I can't remember anything.
He was.
Anyway, yes, that was a good, a major scene that I remembered, and she was kind of, I don't know, sort of offer rocker and conspiratorial. So
Yeah.
I think that, I think that was, sort of an apt name for her.
Oh, that's a great name and a great character. Um, I remember when you went to the information desk in Airplane 2, the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
That whole scene.
That's good.
That whole scene is great. What's the fastest animal on Earth? The cheetah. Next. Should I fake my orgasms? Yes. Next.
Oh my God, you got the dialogue down.
Yeah. It's a classic scene.
Yeah.
I saw you.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and I saw you and Mr. Mom also recently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was a thrill because I was a huge fan of Terry Garr
Yeah.
and Martin Mull, and of course my pal Michael Keaton
Right.
um, from from back in the day, and so it was a thrill to get to be in that. Um, but I will tell you a kind of sad story
Okay.
if you'd like to hear.
Absolutely.
And it was this. I mean, the whole acting thing for me was, it was so sort of spontaneous, off the cuff. I wasn't like someone who really wanted to do it and went to acting classes and,
Right.
sort of learned a lot about, what they were doing. I was rather vacuous about just I went where they sent me and I said the lines and then I'd sometimes get a part. And so, excuse me,
Yes.
I got the part of the one of the execs at a boardroom table scene. And so Terry Garr and Martin Mull and others were at the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with other execs at the back.
Uh-huh.
And I sort of did this bit with a cigarette where I was just ending up constantly smoking and not knowing that I hadn't put out one when I'd light another, that kind of thing. And so they filmed, and they got all of the shots, the overview and the shots they needed. And the director, who was Stan Dragati, said, bring her up here and get her in makeup. And I'm looking around me, trying to see who the hell he's talking about. And it's me. And he said, I want you to do that. Like in just you. And I melted. I completely melted. And they did the makeup, they set up the camera. I stood in front of it, and I couldn't light the cigarette.
Oh.
It was disastrous. And it was the big downfall of my heart in the thing that every actress wanted to happen to them, that, the director would pick them out for their close-up. And I blew it. Yeah. But, what are you going to do? It was one of those things. I still get residuals for it, so it's okay.
Was that the moment that you became disillusioned with acting?
Probably. Yeah, I think I did a few more things after that, but yeah, I do think it was. I think it was always very difficult because I just, it was as if, I did it by mistake.
Yeah.
And so I was always skating on thin ice, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I did. I liked it when I played Camille Boone on Starch and Husky. No, what is it?
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Yes. And I, sort of got to learn how to use a gun. Mm-hmm. And I had to rush down the bleachers to the center ring where my ex was boxing, and I was supposed to try and shoot him, and they kept yelling, "Shoot the gun straighter into the audience." And I was like, oh my God. That, and then I once worked with Joan Collins and Joan Hackett in the same scene.
Yeah.
Which was pretty extraordinary, because Joan Hackett and Joan Collins probably couldn't be more opposite, save for their first name.
Yeah.
And this is one of those cheesy Hollywood stories that I couldn't believe my eyes, but it really happened. And that was that we were set up, and for some reason or another, the scene was set, but one thing or another kept interrupting it, so that the director would yell, go for it, and it would start, and he'd have to cut it. And it went that way quite a few times. And finally, it seemed like all the ducks were in a row. He was just about to shoot, and he knew better this time to say, "Is everyone ready?" And Joan Collins said, "One moment." And she licked her finger and went round the side of Joan Hackett to remove with her wet finger some imaginary mark that was on Hackett's face. You can imagine.
Yes.
It just, it was like, reading a movie magazine. I mean, I couldn't believe that was happening, and that she would do such a funny, not so funny maybe, dastardly thing to, to sort of offset everybody. But then we shot, and it was fun.
That's one thing I love about show business people. They have such a body sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So after you left acting, did you just go straight into jewelry, or did it take a while?
Well, I kind of kept doing bits and pieces, and I had modeled when I was in New York. I was a model for a long time, and that's how it got going, because I started doing commercials. And I ended up doing quite a few commercials, and then it was one of the commercial agencies where, I made friends, and they told me about the auditions for Black Picture Show and Miss Janie. And that's how I got to do those two productions. And then, so when I left New York, I went with a modeling agency in LA.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't the kind of work that there was in New York, but it was enough to keep things going. So I continued to do that off and on. And then a club opened called the China Club.
Uh-huh.
And it was a restaurant bar on 3rd Street in Hollywood. And it just kind of took LA by storm at the time. And I don't remember how I got there, but somehow or another I ended up as the hostess with the mostest. And so I started working there, and I, was the hostess, but I also wore, sort of outrageous outfits all the time. And with my friend Jane Goldsmith, we curated the art there. And then there started to be music was there. It was a riotous place because it was at the tip top of the drug world and the, just over the top 80s stuff that was going on in Hollywood at the time. And so it was quite fun. I got to be a naughty girl for a while, and then the jewelry came about. Mm-hmm. And that was good. And when you're holed up in what do they call it? Not physical therapy, mental therapy.
Right.
Whatever it's called. Then, you learn how to do crafts.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then it started to take off. And that was quite fun. And I got, again, it was quite easy because I was in Hollywood. So lots of celebrities started wearing it. And I kind of specialized in doing pieces for folks on stage. So I got to do that, and that was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a great time.
What year did you leave Hollywood?
Well, I didn't leave Hollywood per se. I just started living in the rest of the 1,000 places I've lived in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I, was in Silver Lake, Echo Park.
Yeah.
I lived in Hollywood. I lived in Santa Monica, Topanga, downtown. And I left LA 4 years ago.
Okay.
For New Orleans. So happy Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Mardi
Happy
Gras
Mardi Gras.
is coming up next Tuesday.
Yes, you're right.
I went to see some of the parades last night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been seeing some of them all week, actually, because I sell down, as I said, in the French Quarter, and I can't get there. You literally cannot leave home. There's no way, because when the parades are on, they set up for them hours and hours in advance, and you can't go past the blockades. So if you're out away from your house, you're not getting home. I had to go to my friends and spend the night the other night because we couldn't get back. I couldn't get to my house. So I'm home. I'm 3 blocks from the parade route, I'll be going down there.
Yeah. How's the COVID situation over there?
It's pretty good. It's, I think the numbers are low. We're still under a mask mandate, but I think it's pretty good. And I was, as I say, at the parade last night. No one with masks on, but it's outdoors. So I don't know. At the beginning of COVID, that the last Mardi Gras, the last parades that we'd hear, that was disastrous. That really spread like nobody's business. But this wasn't. I think I wasn't particularly worried about it last night or the other day.
Yeah.
I was more worried some drunk would fall on me.
we have a very low death count over here, thank God. Unfortunately, I live in a very conservative town where, we were mandated, but people were not obeying it, and they were doing nothing about it, unfortunately. But yeah, I wear a mask everywhere I go.
Are you still in San Francisco?
No, I'm in Redding, California.
Oh, in Redding. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so they do have a mandate, but nobody pays attention?
Yeah, this is a very conservative town, unfortunately. We didn't know how conservative it was until we came up here, because it was much cheaper than the Bay Area. But yeah, I mean, we're planning on moving somewhere in the future. We don't know where, but yeah, But we wear masks everywhere we go, and that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Of course, to go in any place, you definitely have to wear a mask. But there's a lot of outdoor activity right now.
Yeah,
and a lot of cafes that. That you can go to without masking. But I don't know. I mean, it's so difficult to tell. It just seems that it would help, but at the same time, so did the vaccine, but you still end up in hospital with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they knew, and that makes it difficult. Yeah. But hopefully it'll be over soon.
Well, Hillary, you have told me some great stories today. I don't know why you were worried.
Well, because I'm dreadful, I can't remember, my arms
Yeah.
and legs. It's just a good thing they're attacked. Because I just had such a terrible time with it. And this isn't from, old age. I was like this when I was 4. And so that was the other problem, was remembering rhymes.
Yeah.
But so it's been great. I really thank you. I thank you for pressing me into service here.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. It was really fun being with you.
Yes, absolutely.
And, so, are you an archivist?
Am I in what?
Are you an archivist of films and television?
I consider myself a historian by far. Yes. I mean, I've always been like an archivist and collector of things. Anything related to movies, music, and all that stuff. So yeah, I consider myself a historian.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'll tell you one last story. Okay.
Okay.
Because it was my dream. This was a dream, not to be in films or television. My dream was to be on stage in a rock and roll group with a boyfriend. I didn't care what boyfriend.
Okay.
Just as long as it was a boyfriend and we got to be on stage together. And so somewhere down the line, I guess kind of when I was making the transition, and I'd gone to work at the China Club, a real boyfriend and I and 2 other friends started an a cappella group.
Uh-huh.
And we were called the Young Gons, which of course is really young ones, but we called it the Young Gons. And so it was really fun. We practiced, and none of us had ever sang before.
Yeah.
And we started doing, all these, just all of these random songs. Some like rock and roll stuff from back in the day. We did Lady Smith Black Mombasa song. Lionel Richie. Anyway, so we did all these songs, and one of the members had worked as a music critic at the Times, and so we got booked at the Whiskey to open for a guy named Chucky Weiss.
Okay.
He was tight with female rock and roller that I'm not going to remember, but anyway,
Pat
he
Benatar?
had his own group. Who?
Pat Benatar?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're backstage. We're kind of like pumping ourselves up. We're going to open for him. And at the time, he was kind of big around Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you have to list your songs on a board outside of the dressing rooms when, before you were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously looked at our song list and saw that we were going to do a song that he was going to do, which was pretty strange because, we were singing a cappella, and who knew that we could possibly have the same song. And so he came to our dressing room,
mm-hmm.
and he sort of, got Steve, who was kind of our leader, mm-hmm. and my boyfriend. And he asked him to please not do that song.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve said, why? And he said, because we're doing it. And Steve said, but we're a cappella. We don't like have instruments and stuff. It's like, and he said, I'm telling you, don't do the song. And Steve said, okay, man, okay, cool, I got it. And we went out, and it was the first song we did. And the Times had sent someone to critique it, and they said, I don't know, they said something about the song list and that it was a good song list, and then they said, however, the young gods should keep their day jobs. So that was my little... Anyway, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Yes, Hilary. Oh, by the way, I have a joke for you.
Oh, good.
What do you call a boy that doesn't masturbate?
I don't have a clue.
A liar.
Very good.
Thank you
so
much. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, Tommy. Be well.
Yes, thank you for being such a great guest today. Oh, by the way,
thank you.
Please accept my friend request on Facebook.
Oh, I haven't?
I sent you one. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding. I thought we were friends.
Not yet.
I thought we were friends. Okay, I will. I'm going to do it right now.
Okay, you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Hilary Beane. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh, what a great lady, huh? And a great storyteller. She was on the fence about doing this at first, but she surprised me. She really went all in. It was great having her on today. And really quickly, I'd like to say rest in peace and happy birthday, George Harrison. Of course, he passed away in 2001, but he's a Beatle. You got to acknowledge the guy's birthday because he was great. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.